Welcome to another episode. Keeping it orange and blue. I'm Ryan Evan, joined as always by Urbana's finest, Kevin Ducey. What's happening?
You might need to let that one ride out a little bit longer, man. I like that one.
It was going for a minute and 20. I'll keep it on the playlist.
Yeah, I like that one.
Man, you know what though? That was a perfect silky smooth vibe, looking like Kasparas Jacionis. I'm just being honest.
I don't know if he's that smooth. Oh, good gracious, boy!
I know. And here's the thing: Coach Underwood's trying to keep him under wraps, but when you're playing like that, I don't know how can you kind of keep that down? Like, keep it quiet. We'll stop doing the no look left hand behind the back. I mean, quit doing that stuff.
Splitting defenders in the lane. Hey, yeah, real quick. Like, if anybody hasn't seen it, Ryan and I believe it both posted on Twitter. Kasparas had a highlight drop today on the under 18 Lithuanian team against Spain. He dropped 22 points, but passing was incredible. So go check it out. I'm sure we'll dive into it in the show. But one thing I want to start the show off with, Ryan, is episode 101. So I am drinking some Wild Turkey 101 for the 101st episode.
Okay. I'm going to be honest, though, man. I was looking at it today when I put it in, episode 101. I'm thinking, man, it's been a journey. It's been a good adventure. But yeah, so yeah. And you know what? I'm celebrating with a Dr. Pepper and cream soda. So, hey,
there you go. Right on. And Barry, I did not play today. I played twice this week. I was sub 90 for both rounds. I think it's the first time it's happened in my life. Played twice in a week and shot sub 90 both rounds. So there you go, brother.
Wow. Hey, that's pretty solid, man. Yeah, it looks like he shot a 75 today. Yeah, that behind the back pass had some white chocolate heat on it. Yeah.
It was pretty nice, man.
Wow. Dr. Jared Patel says he hears that Antigua is only going to be in Champaign for one season. Huh.
I don't I think there's all kinds of reasons as an Illinois fan to be concerned about that, right?
Yeah.
But I think the one challenge is that, and this isn't a knock against Orlando. He had one season or maybe 2 seasons as a head coach where he was at South Florida, and it did not go well. And I think there's some guys who are just built better to be a head assistant than they are to be the main guy. I mean, frankly, Gene Cady won a whole bunch of Big Ten titles with Bruce Weber as his number 2. I frankly think Bruce Weber is probably built better to be a number 2 than a number 1. So,
and I will say this:
I don't think we're going to lose.
If Illinois gets to a Final Four or wins a Natty with this team, and he gets a chance to go coach a smaller school, who's going to complain? You know what I mean?
Orlando Antigua's had plenty of opportunities to go coach at the lower end P5 schools or the mid majors, and he hasn't done it. And he hasn't done it for a reason. That's not something I'd be all that worried about, to be honest with you. I don't see it, but maybe Dr. JP's got some information on it. So
he signed a multi 3-year deal, I believe, at $1 million a season. He's the associate head coach for a reason. He's the top guy. He's got a nice place. His family loves Champaign. I just want to keep it real with everybody.
I imagine him and Tim and Jeff probably get along pretty well. Like, they just seem like complementary personalities. They would get along well, so that's critical. Hey, what's up, Sean Garner? Saw you were the first in the chat, brother. Always appreciate you. Always on.
Yeah. Now, don't mean to ignore you, Sean, because I know we always get to you because you're going to ask me.
What's up?
He's going to ask me several things about, are you sure Tomislav is in town? And I'm going to say, yes, Sean.
Hey, good segue.
Yeah, exactly. It is. So the answer to that question, Sean, is he made it, I believe it was Saturday, early Saturday morning, maybe late Friday, but he is in town. I know he posted on his Instagram as well. The team is, sort of whole complete. But yeah, everybody has been to Champaign. We have gotten to see glimpses of Will Riley post, putting him some nasty ball handling work and some of those highlights. You see he's doing crazy like Dr. J dunks and stuff too. And think about what Adam Fletcher's going to do to his vert, to his strength, to all that this year. The talent is it's just exciting to see what this team can be. And Tomislav is a legit 7-1. And the only thing I could think is, yes, they might – he's already a grown man, so he's 20. So I still think, sure, he can bulk up a little bit. It'd probably be maybe about losing a little bit of fat probably for him because he's already probably more defined and strong, So but it's big to have him on campus this early before August so these guys can mesh and build a cohesive unit. I will tell you this, though. This is a little sneak peek, a little inside. That obviously we talked to, a few players. We've interviewed several players. I won't name the player that said this, but I talked to a couple of them over the last 3 or 4 days, and I asked him, I said, just keep it real. Is this the most talent you've ever played with? And these are guys that have played with, and they said, by far. This is the most talented group of guys because everybody has a bag. It seems like they all have so many strengths. And, obviously it's going to have to mesh and gel together. But when you're looking at what we just saw from Kasparas and Will Riley's is going to be a first-round pick next year if he doesn't, get injured, in my opinion. And you see guys like Kylan Boswell is going to be a guy that's probably defers some. But seeing the growth of Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn and then just saying, hey, Ty's working on a jump shot. You got Merez Johnson and Tomislav in the post. You got a guy like Ben Hummerkaus who shoots 40-some% from deep. And I haven't even got to Trey White. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so many things to talk about and heading as we head. Obviously football is coming near and dear, and we're going to be focusing on that a lot. But, man, it's just so much to be excited about, Kevin.
It really is. And I think that, Ked, our dear friend Ked Prince, wrote a great article on Will Riley on the Illini guys. So I encourage anybody to go check that out. And it talked about how when Will Riley got here, and I'm gonna share a little bit, and Ked, forgive me, but I mean people need to go read the article unto itself. But it talked about when Will Riley got here, people were like, I don't know that this guy is going to be, big enough, strong enough to do the things that are going to be needed to be done to be a Big Ten player. And since that has happened, since he's been on campus, he's just blown people away. His agility, his ball handling, he's already put on some strength. And so I think that the just overall talent on this team is really, really excited. And frankly, I think that Ryan, like you and I we both lean football, right? I mean, my first love was Illinois football. Illinois basketball is right there with it. I joke around about, Robert calls himself one of the 17 people where football is just as important, if not more important.
So we have to be one of the 19 because we weren't included in that, I think.
I agree because it's definitely important for us. But I think that the challenge for us is like, I'm not pessimistic on Illinois' football season. I think Illinois is going to be decent, but I'm just so excited about basketball. And I think you share that same enthusiasm about where this team can be. And a lot of times there's things about the unknown that can really intrigue fans. And that's what this team is going to have. We are going to have 2 foreign players. We're going to have a couple transfers from high-level programs. We're having transfers from low-level programs. We're having a 5-star reclass. Like this is we got basically a 5-star recruit in Merez Johnson. There's just so much about we got a very high 4-star transfer from Notre Dame. Like there's just so much about this team that is so intriguing that it's what the people want to talk about. I think people are more bullish on basketball right now and more excited. And I'm fully ready. I mean, we're 2 weeks away from August. We're 2 weeks away from camp starting, probably even less than that. And I'm really excited to start getting reports from camp and seeing what those guys are going to do. And loved having Sabor Kareem on. But the fact is the Illinois basketball team has just got so many intriguing pieces that we can't wait to see that team get on the floor in October.
100%. And trust me, once camp hits here and then the week of, Illinois and Eastern for that Thursday night primetime kick, I think it's going to be 90% football talk for a little while. And that's okay.
Sure.
So, but it's okay to be excited about something that it's just wild to see this much just national talent. And, I want to tell you, Illinois is not done hitting that recruiting market. There's a Finnish kid from 2026, Mika. Ooh. Yeah, Mika Marinen. He reminds me of Cooper Flagg, man. He's got a lot of Cooper's game in him. Like, if you watch how they play, he handles it well. He's got, he's a nice athlete. He shoots it good. He's a good passer. But yeah, so Illinois is in on him, and I want everybody to know this. For 2026, Illinois isn't looking – there's not as much talent in the state of 2026 because I think we talked about this before. So they're going to be looking more international probably for that class. But yes, there'll still be some kids in the United States that they're going to go after. But just not a lot of in-state kids that they're going to focus on.
They're focusing on that 27 class for sure. Yeah,
like Devin Cleveland. Yes. Devin Cleveland is beyond nice. He's legit. But yeah, and we're going to get to the Boozer brothers, Thomas. We're getting to it. But yeah, Nathan, we appreciate your input. You're excited about football because you don't know what to expect. Exactly. I think, we're going to talk more about this after we talk about Tomislav Ivisic for a few minutes. But Big Ten Media Days, his Kev here is in 2 days, Tuesday. Illinois is part of that day one group that's going to start off, I love that Illinois, we can hear from Brett Bielema. You can hear from some of the players. You get to hear from, guys like Seth Coleman and
Yakis.
Yep, you do. And yep.
The Cruz?
No, I thought it was I think Pat Bryant's one of them. Yeah.
Pat Bryant. That's right. I was trying to remember who's on offense. Yeah.
Yep. So Pat Bryant, and I'm hearing really good things that Pat Bryant's going to have that year where I can already tell you though, NFL teams he's already been on the radar. And I want everybody to know that Pat Bryant's going to having that Casey Washington season coming. I'm telling you.
By the way, and speaking of Casey Washington, I knew you were going to say something. I watched a YouTube video this week. It was an Atlanta Falcons fan who did a YouTube thing. It was about 15 minutes long about how he's like, dude, holy crap, the Falcons might have got a steal in the draft in Casey Washington. It's pretty cool. Now, the dude does kind of badmouth Illinois a little bit, but let's be real. We have not been a premier institution for college football for a while now. But it's pretty cool to watch, and he breaks down his highlight tape, and he's like, dude, this dude is the good. So it's exciting to hear that for Casey Washington, and I think that Pat Bryant is probably more physically talented than Casey. I'm not no knock on Casey.
Yeah,
he might not be as fast, but his strength and his size and
Elbez Zachary Zach. I'm not expecting Jasper Johnson to pick Illinois. I just think that. I think the legacy thing might be a little too much for him and his bloodline. I don't think Illinois is in the top spot right now, but
my understanding is it's not dead in the water though.
It's not dead. I'm just not expecting Illinois. Yeah,
right. You're not putting in your crystal ball, your mythical orb, whatever. You're probably the same place I am, Ryan. You're less than 50% that he chooses Illinois, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's where I'm at.
We're still trailing in that, but I think we're still in a good spot. Like I think we're still being considered. It's not dead in the water, but we're still working it.
Yep. So, and I have not played EA College Football 25 yet. Don't have a PS5 at the moment, but it is in the works because I want to play that game very badly. And I have all my buddies who have been playing it and telling me about it, and they're like, "Bro, come on, man! You can't cover Illinois. You can't write for Mike Farrell and then be like, I don't play the game." I'm like, so
I'm just gonna play season 20. I think it's like 2056 with Illinois on my PS3 with NCAA Football 13 and just keep my dynasty rolling. We haven't lost in like almost 40 years, so we're just gonna keep it rolling. So
wow, dude, NCAA Football 13, okay,
on my PS3.
Yeah, and the PS3 graphics aren't terrible.
We got like the seventh line of Ducey recruits that still come in every year. So hey, what are you gonna do?
You guys are all maxed out, right? 99, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, is it fun though to never lose?
I mean, I don't.
Is there ever big challenge? You never get challenged at all?
Yeah, I don't really get you. I don't know. I think it's just a mind-numbing thing for me just to spend an hour in La La Land.
Uh,
I probably haven't played in 7 months. I would have occasionally played that or Tiger Woods or maybe a little MLB The Show just for if I had an hour I wanted to kill and didn't have anything going on. But this game coming back though, to be honest, like I know we're kind of all over the board here, but it's what the fans want. It's what folks are asking about.
Yeah. And
has got me considering getting like the low level Xbox S, I guess you could get.
Yeah, where you can play it.
And I would love. I mean, I think it'd be kind of fun if we had like a Keepin It Orange and Blue league or something. I went to a church camp recently. My boys are all going to be seniors. I got one of my kids, Keith, is a huge college football fan, and he's like, "Dude, I just got my Xbox." And I'm like, I would literally go over to his house and play with him. I know it'd be weird if you're a 46-year-old dude going and play at a senior, but I know his dad. I know his dad pretty well.
I was about to say
that's how much I want to play. That's how much I want to play the stupid game.
His mom or dad's like, "Who's in your room?"
Like, no, they know me. Like, there's some strange old man.
It's Kevin. He's drinking some Cavassier. No.
I would not be having to be drinking water.
Yes, water. You are, not him. But back to Keeping It Orange and Blue Fantasy League football. Yeah, it's possible. But I mean, I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. I don't do the 18-team leagues or whatever you do.
No, I would we set it up as 12.
Yeah, we can do 12. Yeah. Now to try to rein this back in a little bit. So big Tomislav Ivisic on campus, huge news. I think Illinois coaching staff, Jeff Alexander and Orlando Antigua were at the Peach Jam this weekend. So there was huge, news, because AJ Diabonsa's team did not win. Everybody thought that they were going to win this year, and because he's pretty much an unstoppable force. But Illinois is actually working on a pair of twins that everybody might know, because we know that their dad, Carlos Boozer, Cameron and Caden Boozer, they won the Peach Jam again. And Illinois is working primarily on Caden Boozer, the point guard. 2025 5-star. He's not the most sought out one of both of them. It's actually Cameron, but
who's like the second best player in high school basketball. Right?
Yes, Caden's just like it's just like a scoff at 15 or something,
right?
Yeah. So, and of course, remember Carlos Boozer had many years, some of his best years as a Bull.
He was pretty solid. Bulls and Jazz. I really liked him when he was with the Jazz, obviously.
And So think about. Let's talk about this connection briefly here. Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer were very close when they were on the Jazz. Okay, Darren Williams, of course, Illinois great. Carlos Boozer lived in Chicago for many years, and heck, these boys may have even been born in Illinois. I don't know. I think he may have been in Utah, Salt Lake when they were born, but they grew up and spent many years in Illinois. There is a little connection there, of course. Add into the fact that Illinois basketball is very good now. Orlando Antigua had already been recruiting these boys. So that's where Illinois is. This is actually a possibility for visits. And if one visits, I'm surprised. I'll be shocked if the other doesn't. But I know Illinois is working hard right now for Caden. I did ask and talk about it, and that they are working to set up a visit, and it's not going to be something that they get locked in this week. It's going to be something, as you're heading into August, they can try to solidify to find a good weekend. What football weekend would work for them? Probably, I would be shocked if that first weekend in September.
Michigan?
Yeah, or Michigan. But that first one, it's a prime time against Kansas, ranked team, night game. That's that vibe that you want to have nice official visits for kids to come and see. So, so that is what's going on with that in 25. Zach asked me earlier. I talked about Jasper. Just don't feel like we're in the lead right there. Not out of the water, but I haven't put a crystal ball in for a reason, because I don't feel confident. So I'm not going to do that. And then they do have other visits and things that they're working on with like Chris Cernak, Cernac, to a top 50 kid in the class of 2025 that Orlando Antigua likes a lot. And a couple others that I will mention in the Discord. I'm going to post a little update on the Discord later tonight. There's a good reason to come in there. So just got so much going on, man. I do the Discord, do this. I'll have a piece on Big Ten Media Day for Illinois coming out tomorrow morning on MikeFarrellSports.com. So I'll probably send Kev little snippets of it before it's posted. But yeah, so just a little preview of what to expect in day one of Big Ten Media Day. So your thoughts though, Kev, on how Illinois is recruiting in 2025, and even if they don't land a guy like Jasper Johnson, doesn't mean that Illinois has lost it all of a sudden.
No, I think the biggest thing is you got to go back to what Bill Self has said, and Bill Self's arguably, in my estimation, the second best recruiter from a head coach standpoint in the past 20 years as a college basketball coach. You could throw Coach K in there. So it's Cal, Self, K. So he's one of the top three, right? Yep. And Bill Self said, if you're not getting those, you're not recruiting the right kids. I do think was it Caden Boozer? I'm sorry, Cameron is Caden.
Yep, Caden Boozer. Yep.
My understanding, it is not a done deal that they are a package deal to go play together. I do think obviously Duke has a huge advantage there with Dad having played there. I think Shire is recruiting really well. But the fact of the matter is like we are in with these high-level 5-star kids. It's really incredible. There's another point guard. He's like a 15th overall in that next class, and that Illinois is in on. And I mean, we're playing in a different stratosphere. And furthermore, to lean on our guy Ryan Ferran, who was on the show two episodes ago, is that you have this situation with Jeremiah Fierce, who committed to Oklahoma. I believe it's today.
Yep.
And first off, people, I live down here. I live in Oklahoma. Like, go do some research on it. I understand that Oklahoma is not where Illinois is at currently, but Oklahoma is traditionally a top 20 program all time. I mean, they really are. They're in the argument along with us as the best programs to have never won a national title. But that being said, I know this for a fact. Porter Moser's on the hot seat. Ryan Ferran mentioned on our show, Jeremiah might be a guy who goes plays 30 minutes somewhere just so he can come back to Illinois. And if those highlights of Kasparas Jassionis can translate to the college level for Illinois this next year, he will be a one and done, and there will be minutes available for him. I think him going to Oklahoma is probably a really good situation for him to come to Illinois after this next season. Just my thoughts.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody should take that personal because he wasn't going to play at Illinois. I just want everybody to know that, okay? Like, just think about this. And it's not because he's not good or he's not talented. It's who's in front of him. These are guys that are a year older than him. They are a year more mature than him. He needs to add strength to really, I think, next year it would be perfect for him, in my opinion. Like, give him another year to add a little bit and get him another off season, and I think he'll be fine. But also to sit here and say, I think right now that he's better than Kasparas and Will Riley and Kylan Boswell and Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn, I don't believe that. Nope. I just don't. And so and that's not a diss on him. That those are guys are a couple years ahead of him. Two of them are. Have both won. Okay, Boswell's in his third year of playing major D1 ball. Dre Gibbs-Lawhorn's, a kid who showed out against great talent and overtime elite who had to bide his time with an all-time great last year at Illinois.
Did you see that? Did you see the highlights from Dre the other day? Good Lord.
Hey, oh my good. I told everybody, take cover. DGL's taking flight.
Oh, and the pull-up baseline shot he hit. Yeah, it was really exciting. Mark, I want to chime in here. Mark saying, yes, Mark, I still think it's 90% chance that the Boozers end up at the same school. What I heard was it's not a lock that they're at the same school, which I believe 6 months ago the thought was they were absolutely a lock to go to the same school. I'm just hearing that that is not a lock
And
anymore.
I want to
It's
give
still
this.
likely. It's still likely.
Yes, but I'm going to tell you. I don't know if you know who this Mark is, Kev, and I'm excited about this Mark
Is
right
that
here.
tough?
No, that's Mark Melvin. He used
All
to work
right.
for Rivals and covered Illinois basketball in the Bill Self era, the end of Lon Kruger, and
No, shit, that's awesome, man.
and maybe mainly the Bill Self era and like the first year of Bruce Weber, this gentleman
All
right
right.
here. Then he had some health issues, and he's back healthy again, and he was at Peach Jam. Mark was at Peach Jam. So if he's hearing that, that's probably a good vibe.
No, it's one of those things. Like there was, from what I've read, and I'm getting it from people like Mark, so he's probably more in the know than I am on something like this. What I heard from people, literally 6 months ago, is like there's no chance they go to separate schools, and then recently I've heard there is potential.
Yeah, hey Phil.
Phil made me laugh. There is potential.
That's why Mark had health issues, but
move, Dimitri. Like there is potential
Mike Davis, you promised
that they could go to separate schools, but it is still unlikely they go to separate schools. Now that being said, I mean I'm with you, Ryan. You certainly are going to recruit the number 2 player in the country. You're recruiting the number 1 player in the country. You've got Antigua, who is a cheat code when it comes to relationships there. Illinois reached an Elite 8 last year where Duke was not. Illinois would be foolish to not throw their hat in the ring for both guys. So who knows? And if the guard Caden is the way in, then that's the way in. So
do I think Kendall Gill's son will transfer to Illinois? I don't know. I don't think after year 1, no. But I think he's going to be a very good player for Northwestern before it's all said and done. And I do believe that. And it could be 3 years down the road, but that's okay. And you know what? I think he made the best choice for him. Remember, his mother went to Northwestern.
Yeah, I think you got to look at things a little bit different when you look at a kid like Phoenix Gill, right? He's got 2 great parents. His dad is uber successful. His dad is uber successful off the basketball court and on it. I think it's you know what? I mean, I've met Kendall a couple times. It's been years. And somebody like a Mark would probably have to give more insight here. But I think Kendall's a little old school on this. I don't think Kendall is really going to be the guy because if you're Phoenix Gill, Kendall Gill has to be your number 1 source of information when you're talking about what you're doing here. I don't think that Kendall barely played his freshman year. His sophomore year, he was still skinny. And then, but you could see the talent was there. And then his junior year, he blows up, obviously. And led into his senior year where he averaged 20 points a game in Illinois. I think Kendall's going to be the guy who's like, hey, man, you just work and get better and stick it out. So I don't foresee that. That's just I don't know the word I'm looking for, but my intuition on it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, gut feeling, intuition, whatever. But Mark had said he would be glad to write some pieces for me at 200 columns, and so I'm probably gonna take him up on it. So we appreciate all his insight, and yes, he's been on the Discord. He was at Peach Jam, picking his brain a little bit. It's smart.
Mark's got me jumping in the Discord. I'm so bad about it. I'm sorry, man.
It's all good, man. But yeah, Mark actually approached me a month ago. I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago. And he told me about his credentials and what he'd been doing. And he really wants to get back into it since he's got his health back. And he was going to go to Peach Jam. So I'm like, hey, dude. Like I know that man's seen a lot more ball than I have. So, it's nice, though, that some of my fondest memories at Illinois was when he was covering the teams. You know, the 2001 season in the Elite 8 where Arizona fouled Illinois, everybody, even the managers out of the game. And that season was amazing. It was heartbreaking, obviously, but then to see that, and then he covered the teams, the Final Four run there. He covered that. So it's nice to have a guy like that on your side. So yeah, I appreciate you, Mark, no doubt. Now, let's roll this into Big Ten Media Days. for football. And again, we'll answer questions as we see them towards the end of this. So, Kev, Illinois starts out day one with Ohio State, Northwestern, Wisconsin, Purdue, and Rutgers. So the first 6 there. That's a very intriguing day, and I'm not going to dive into that on this show, all of it, because it will be teaser on my first article about the Big Ten Media Days, which will be posting tomorrow. It's my third overall article, but first one about the Big Ten Media Day. And mainly it's because Illinois is in it, but also Ohio State. There's so many intriguing with Ryan Day and, basically having to win a national championship this year to keep his job. It's great, dude. And trust me, I delve into that. But, having Purdue, having so many former Illini staffers on that team, it's just going to be a fun Tuesday edition. But what do you want to hear from, and what are you most excited about hearing and listening to Brett Bielema and those guys on Tuesday?
Well, I think on the surface, frankly, nothing.
Okay.
But honestly, but that's, I can't give that answer on this show. Honestly, and it's changed because of the show and because of last week. I think Sabur Kareem and the way that he talked to us, not only on the show, but whenever we have a guest on, for the most part, we have the opportunity to talk to him behind the scenes, backstage, whatever. And I think that there's a level of confidence here. There's a level of depth. There's a level of just satisfaction for what happened last year. And I think there's some carryover between the 22 team with all that leadership, with all those guys in the NFL, that I think some people, and he even talked about it, is like Johnny wasn't really a rah-rah guy. And I think that they missed Sidney Brown far more than we thought. I think that last season gives the opportunity for somebody to step up into this season. I'm glad to hear that it's Sabur specifically said on our show, it's Seth. So I'm really excited to hear what Seth Coleman has to say. I'm very excited that Gabe Yakis has decided to stick around. And that leads into some of the things like Nathan Durst asked, how will special teams be for Illinois this year? I think special teams, frankly, would be better. Yeah. One of the reasons I think the special teams are going to be better is because I think we have more depth. I think we've added not only in the transfer portal, but I think that we've done so with just guys sticking around. And
David, I loved Caleb Griffin, and he became very clutch. I was happy for him how his season went last year. But let me tell you, David Alano's got a cannon, and I think
Declan Dooley's going to push Hugh Robertson.
I think the punting game's going to be better, and I think the kicking game's going to stay where it is, if not improve, because David Alano's just got some swagger to him. He's got a little bit bigger leg too than Caleb Griffin, and I think he's got a chip on his shoulder to show, I think I should have been kicking last year, even though Caleb was a senior. I feel like I could have kicked. But so I think we're going to have 3 really good years of David Alano, who, remember,
and God forbid something happens to him. I mean, we've got Pinton back, so I mean, it's
and that dude, he's money from anything.
Solid, yeah.
He's money from anything with around 40 yards and in. Fabrizio Pinton. Remember,
he's 6'3", 230. That's a big dude.
I didn't realize that, but his leg's not as big, but he's very accurate. No. I remember he beat Iowa. He single-handedly beat Iowa 2 years ago.
Yep.
So that's not something.
What about you, Ryan? When do you look for anything are you looking to hear from these guys? I mean, obviously, Illinois in today's current Big Ten can't sit there on a media day in the way that we're currently situated in football and be the primary target. It'd be far different in basketball. We will be a primary target unless we're matched up with Purdue right now or Indiana, just because of Indiana's cachet, or Michigan State. But we're right there in basketball. But being matched up with only Ohio State, that's the only team I think where people really want to lean in and know more. So Illinois could be the second biggest story on media day there. But what are you looking for?
Well, frankly, we were just talking about day one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what am I looking for from Illinois?
Yes.
Okay.
What are you most looking forward to?
I just want to get a good vibe of what Bielema's saying, and I hope he takes it seriously, that this is a season he needs to win. Like, I hope he understands that, because I think, he's been playing with some house money. He played with house money last year. You come off an 8-win season, unless you win one game or 2 games last year, you're not going to be worried about anything. And I think maybe he knows that 2 of the first 3 seasons at Illinois, they've blown some awful, awful games where they've just let bowl games just slip out of their hands, and it's been bad. You can't have that this year.
Wisconsin, Maryland.
Yes, Wisconsin last year, Maryland and Purdue in year 1.
Yep.
Yeah, Rutgers in year 1 at home. Like, come on, man. You had a guy who was 17 years old who hadn't played a snap, and he came in and led them to a touchdown on your – it's like, bro, all you got to do is get one stop.
And that's frankly what I'm most excited for this year, is because you really look at that team in year 1. It was Ryan Walters' first year as defensive coordinator, and we saw improvements in the defense the backside of the year. And we saw massive improvements in Barry Lunney's offense the backside of next year. I think Barry Lunney is going to really have this team rolling. I think that Aaron Henry is going to be better.
Yeah. And let me just tell you, from things we've heard and even things talking about with Sabur, but things I've heard behind the scenes, that Coach Parker just gets it. I want you guys to know, like, I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but I've had interviews on here with Desmond Strawder. I've talked to several of the recruits, and just his attention to detail, and not just Sabur, but a lot of it too behind the scenes is that I've heard that Finellis was out of his element last year. He, while he understands the game, wasn't a great teacher of the game. And that is not conducive to a guy like Aaron Henry, who's in his first year as a defensive coordinator. So they wanted to add on to the secondary position of coaching someone who can, help bring Henry's strengths out and not have him be the only ears that anyone's listening to. Because I'd heard a lot of in practice, Finellis was looking over at Henry and like listening to how he's coaching and what he's coaching, and not his own message with his own guys, where they're looking at this man like, I believe what you're teaching me. I understand what you're teaching me, and I trust you. Corey Parker, in my opinion, has earned that already, and I think these guys believe in him. Like Sabur told you, he puts his cleats on and he gets out there with them.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm 37. I can still compete with you. Let's go. Like, I'm going to show you how it's done and not just talk to you about it. Like, I'm going to show you how I want to do
this. Anybody who's ever spent any time in management, you understand that the biggest skill in leading and growing as a manager is making the right hires. I mean, that is truly what it is. It is hiring the right people to offset your skill sets, the right people to diversify your skill sets. If you're a rah-rah guy, maybe you don't need another rah-rah guy. Maybe you need a details guy. If you're a details guy, maybe you need a rah-rah guy or gal. And here's the situation is that I think that Aaron Henry and the staff adjusted pretty quickly, and really, it's not a knock on Finellis. Maybe it just wasn't a right fit for this staff. I'm hoping that they have adjusted and made the right decisions here. So.
Yeah, well, and I'm interested to listen to Bielema talk about that, the defense this year, because that obviously was the weak link on the season, just know, I want to see him know that, and he's taking accountability to be like, if it doesn't go well for him this year, next year will be a hot seat season. It will be. You can't miss 3 of your first 4 seasons and not make a bowl game. You just can't.
Yeah, I challenge that a little bit. It's depending on how they miss a bowl game. We can't blow lead. We can't blow games.
So you would agree, though, if it's 5-7 and they blow 2 or 3 leads late, that's the same old story.
Right, but I honestly think that this team, I've shared this and we'll talk more about it in the coming weeks. I think this team is a 5-7 team when I look at the schedule. Granted, I thought last year was 10-2. But
I just want you all to know, he's going to be a bowl team. He's going to predict a bowl season when we're done in about 3 or 4 weeks from now, when he sees and hears reports from camp. I'm telling you, I think this team's got more talent than it did last year, and I think
5-7, all you got to do is steal one, and you're in a bowl game.
Yeah.
What I do think you'll see from this team, with the exception of maybe at Oregon, I think you'll see a really hyper-competitive team. The reason why Oregon scares me, not only is it at Oregon, it's Oregon. I think they're really good. They're a national championship contender favorite. But, man, going out to the West Coast, tough place to play. So,
yeah.
But I think Illinois has the opportunity to be in every game. I mean, I mean, Michigan's going to be really good. I don't know how good they're going to be, but I think we have got the opportunity to be in every game.
Yeah.
And so that, if you go 5-7 and you don't have the snafus of a Wisconsin last year, or Maryland 2 years ago, a Rutgers, all those games that were just, you look Purdue, and you're like, goodness gracious, we had those games won and we blew it.
What about 4-8 though? What about 4-8?
I think the hot seats. I think the hot seat's there if he doesn't make a bowl game, regardless. But I think the level of heat, based on the way that they perform, will change.
Yeah, and trust me, I want this to be known. I don't want it to get to that, because I really think he can get this program to have sound. They fundamentally be sound, who can be competitive. Who I think I don't know why Brett Bielema shouldn't be able to get these guys to bowls every year. Like.
I do think, regardless, let's say he has a 4-8 or a 5-7 season, and Josh Whitman gets the courage to terminate him. I think the program is in a really, really good spot going forward from an overall depth and recruiting standpoint. So we'll see. Yep,
and again, health is another thing too. So, but yeah, and then the players, just Pat Bryant's development, just the defensive adjustments too, and where Gabe Yakis feels like, he can have a season more like we saw his freshman year. Last year wasn't big for him. I think he would tell you he was disappointed in how he played. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to hearing from Gabe. Let's say, sounds like Illinois will cover the spread for number of wins, 5.5. When the goal is 6-6, it's hard to put a dude on the hot seat for competitive 5-7.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I completely agree with that statement.
Yeah, but you can't just keep missing bowls every year. That's what I'm saying. And, Whitman would agree with that. Whitman will not tell you, as much as he, I think, believes in Bielema. Remember, he's a football guy. You think he's cool with 5-7 every year? No.
I don't think we should.
Like, yeah, that's cool. It's cool. Eventually it gets old. And one more 5-7 season, and then you've had 3 5-7 seasons. So that's all I'm saying. And Kevin, you did just say that you think no matter what, if Illinois doesn't make a bowl, it will be a hot type season. Just maybe less.
I think it'll be a warm seat. But honestly, I think the team is situated to be better next year than it is this year.
Okay, we'll have to look at that schedule after the end of this year.
I don't care about the schedule. I care about depth and age.
Okay. All right.
I mean, frankly, that's what I think. I think that there's not a lot. There's not a ton of seniors on this team.
Sean, we're not even talking about that yet. If he gets replaced, I don't expect that to happen this year. That's what I just want you to know. We were talking about next season, or a hot seat type for next year.
Right. I don't think he's on any kind of hot seat this year.
Not right now. He's not. Nope. And you know what? You guys want to go in on a suite in the Discord? Go all in to get a suite one game. That might sound fun. Depends on if somebody wants to do it. I just know what they're charging for them.
You get enough people there, it makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, so then Wednesday, Thursday, you got Oregon Wednesday, I believe. But yeah, so Tuesday will be fun. Then Rutgers and Greg Schiano and that whole thing rolling there. Illinois plays them in the second last game of the year. I think, if you split I feel really good if Illinois can split one of the last two. You got Northwestern at Wrigley, okay, which I think is going to be a lot of more Illinois fans than Northwestern. And then you have at Rutgers the week before that, which I think is going to be a toss-up. So it'll be fun.
I think Greg Schiano's doing a really nice job there. I think he should have never left Rutgers. So.
Yeah, true. No, we're not. No, there is no anti-Bielema talk this year. We're more of just like the storylines heading in Big Ten Media Days. I just want to see him take it as in him knowing that you got to win this year. Shouldn't be any. Oh, we're close. We're competitive. It's year 4. I hope you're competitive and close. You better be.
I really want Brett to win here because I think I think he adds a level of stabilization that we haven't had to the program in a long time. I mean, even if he comes out this year with a 5-7, I mean, it's as good a 4-year window as any coach has had since Mike White and John Mackovic. I mean, Brett Bielema doesn't have the 1-10, 1-11 seasons that everybody else, or 2-10 seasons that everybody else seems to have. So, it's
only other than the straight bowl, the back-to-back straight bowl. I'm just saying, Zook did get to back-to-back bowl games.
he did.
I would like to see that. And I think about how wild that sounds. Well,
he didn't get to coach in the second one.
No, he didn't. But again, you can't. You still did.
Illinois. And he went to 3 bowl games at Illinois. So.
Yeah, and he went to 3 bowl games at Illinois. And as crazy as anybody's saying, the most successful coach, not in my lifetime, because John Mackovic was there, when I was a baby, but that I can remember, because Ron Turner got him to the Micron PC Bowl and then the Sugar Bowl, and then it was crap when he started and crap when he ended. Ron Zook, it was crap when he started, and it really wasn't crap when he ended, because they got to a bowl game and they won the bowl game, even though he didn't coach it. So Ron Zook was really the most successful coach of my lifetime at Illinois.
Yeah, because like you said, you don't remember Mackovic, and then I've got White and Mackovic in my lifetime, which is Mackovic for such a short period of time. White, what he did with turning around a program. Mackovic inherited a much better program. So yeah, it's.
I'd heard about how wild and full those stands were in the Mike White days. Like 70,000, 77,000 fans would fill those stadiums.
Yeah. I've been in Memorial Stadium multiple times with 70,000 plus people, and it was insane. I mean, it was there when we beat Colorado. I remember,
that was John Mackovic, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the games where we beat Michigan State 15-13. I think it was Doug Higgins made 5 field. I mean, he hit a 48-yarder to win the game. The place was nuts. I mean, it was seriously loud and intense in that place. And then I also remember the Nick Bell Iowa game in 1990, 54-28. It just was like, that one hurts. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it used to be. I mean, it used to be you couldn't get a ticket. Like you had a season tickets. You bought tickets before the game. Like you couldn't just walk around a tailgate and somebody throw you free tickets like it is now. And I'd love for us to get back to that someday, especially with only 60,000 in there.
Let's see. I'll throw down if it's keeping it orange and blue exclusive lazy. Me and my guys Ryan and Kevin decide who's part of it.
Somebody's got to sponsor that.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, we'll get to the specifics of it, but we're going to do we talked a little bit. We're going to do a keeping it orange and blue tailgate for the Michigan game. So just anybody listening and watching, get that down. I'll mark that on your count. By the way, Kev, Jay Began said he's coming for that.
Yeah, it'll be pretty low key, but just just friends hanging out. I mean, I don't know we're gonna get a band or a DJ or any nutso stuff like that, but it'd be more than welcome to have all the people come by and say hello. So
we'll get a banner though. We'll get a banner.
Yeah, we'll do that.
So we'll get a banner. But anyway,
Scott can hook us up on that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. We'll get it. We'll get her done. Now, Kev, I think we'll transition into some final thoughts here. I know it's necessarily not Illini related, but it is golf related. And I like to hear you talk about it. What do you make of Tiger Woods just using his exemption to just golf in any outing he can go, even though he's not making the cuts? And he's like, you know what? I've earned that. What was it? The Scottish Open or something? He
played in the British Open this weekend, and
then David Montgomery was ripping his ass over it, saying like, "Why is he just coming to these things and he can't even play anymore?"
Colin Montgomery did.
Colin Montgomery, yeah, sorry.
And I really am not a huge fan of Colin Montgomery. The one aspect where Colin Montgomery has a point, and the other aspect where he doesn't. The one aspect where he has a point is that, yes, Tiger has earned an exemption to play in the British Open until he's 60 years old based on the fact that he won multiple. Based on the fact that he won one, gives him the exemption to play in it until he's 60. That's the rule. Colin Montgomery's not bitching about, was it Todd Hamilton or Justin Leonard who played? By the way, I took both of them in FanDuel as just having a little fun because they actually won at Royal Troon where the golf course was this week. And I thought, hey, maybe they could make a cut and I could win some money by putting all the money on the top dogs. But where he's right is that when Tiger plays, the television coverage is extremely slanted towards him. And I think he finished like plus 14 between Thursday and Friday. It's much ado about nothing. Tigers earned the right to play in it. Tiger is still the biggest draw in the sport, even though he hasn't won a tournament since, 2019 at the Masters. His body's failed him. Part of that's his own fault. Driving recklessly, and it's sad. It's one of those things that, all right, so I'll caution any of the younger fans on the show today. I'm talking guys who are 30 or younger. One of the things I really highly encourage you to do, and I did a very poor job of this, appreciate greatness when it's at its peak. So if you're a football fan and let's say for some reason, whatever, you hate the Kansas City Chiefs, so therefore you hate Patrick Mahomes, take a step back and just appreciate the fact that he's great. He's phenomenal, because all of a sudden what's going to happen is he's 36, 37, 38 years old, and he's going down in the argument of one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and you've hated him for all this time, and you're getting older in life, and you're like, man, I should have appreciated that guy. And I did that with a lot of greats. I did it with LeBron. I did it with Tom Brady. I did it with Derek Jeter. I did it with Tiger Woods. And I did not spend the time or effort to appreciate those guys during the peak of their greatness. So when people are in that peak of their greatness, just step back and just appreciate the greatness that they are as athletes. So I'd encourage that. And Sean, you've asked us a couple times. Braden is going into his senior year at Mount Zion. So
yep. He'll be next year's class. Yep.
Next year's class. And he's got now Braden has a lot of other interests too. So Illinois has got to keep that commitment firm. Yep. If Illinois can get Braden to Illinois, it really opens up the door for his classmate, tight end
E. Anderson.
Yes, who is being heavily recruited. What, 4 or 5 star kid, Ryan?
Yeah, borderline 5-star kid. I think he's a top 200, 250 from Mount Zion here. He's literally they live like 20 minutes from me. So Braden Trimble, actually I'm friends with his dad on Facebook. He's I believe he's a pastor at a local church around here. Very humble family, very kind people. I'm pretty sure I know people are saying this and that. Yes, George McDonald is still trying to, I went to Illinois. It's my alma mater. I love you at Illinois. Come to Illinois when I'm there. But when I'm not, don't come to Illinois because I get paid to coach at Ole Miss now. But really, to me, I think it's a hard sell for him. Hey, I went to Illinois from California. I coached at Illinois too. But hey, don't go to Illinois. Come to Ole Miss. Like, to me, I couldn't go there. I just couldn't, because I'm like, bro, you couldn't even not go to Illinois.
Right.
But so Ole Miss is trying to, George McDonald's doing the whole, I love you guys, but I don't because I'm trying to take Braden from you. But I think it's still a solid commit. I think the family loves the family aspect of it. They genuinely believe in that. And I think they want to see him play every week.
Yeah.
So I feel like Illinois is good. I don't want to interrupt your final thought, but
I think I was getting there, and I'll just my guy David French chimed in and said Illinois is plus 1,000 to win the league in basketball, free money. I don't know if it's free money, but I love getting 10-1 odds on Illinois to win the league in basketball because I think there's a really good chance. What I really love is I believe the number is plus 8,000, so 8-1 odds on Terrence Shannon Jr. to win Rookie of the Year in the NBA. Now, the one aspect for Terrence that is going to be a challenge, and by the way, Terrence hurt his toe and didn't really play much in the last 2 games, didn't play at all today, I believe. I frankly believe it's Minnesota shutting him down, realizing he might have done something to his toe, but I don't believe it's anything that's going to delay him playing the season. I think they said, hey, listen, this dude's ready to play in the NBA. The challenge for it is that he plays on a really good team, so how many minutes does he actually get? How many minutes does he actually get for the team? But the positive side of it is, like, unless it's, Reece Shepard is really shown out for Houston, but this was one of the weakest draft classes in a long time. If ever an opportunity for an Illini to have a Rookie of the Year season, it could be one of those Rookie of the Year deals where a guy averages like 15 points and 5 rebounds and 4 assists. We've seen it. We've seen weak Rookie of the Year winners, and I think that could happen. So I actually like that 8-1. So
Dalton Connect might be, somebody in LA that gets a lot of opportunity. But yeah, I think
I like the Edie one. I like what Sean Gardner said. I like Edie. I think Edie can be really highly effective in Memphis. So.
And Sean, to J.C. Anderson's who we're talking about. I think I mentioned last week or two, Illinois and Notre Dame, top 2 right now for J.C. Anderson.
Yeah. Notre Dame in the lead.
Yeah, but Illinois is right there. I'm telling you, it's not like it's Notre Dame is like just so far and away. Illinois doesn't have it. Illinois has really shown JC a lot of love, and I think that family appreciates it.
Domanis doesn't make the Bulls. That's pretty much a done deal already. I hope Marcus goes to Spain and makes a whole bunch of money. Same with Quincy. Quincy's going to have to go play somewhere else. So
the guys that got to play garbage minutes in like the final game or two in the summer league are not going to make the team.
Yeah, Marcus barely saw the floor in summer league. Georgie barely saw the floor for the Pacers. Quincy barely saw the floor, if he saw it at all, for the Raptors. Those guys are going to have to go find a way to make money overseas.
Yep. Now, my final thought is, and Kev, you have to check it out. So we started a podcast at MikeFarrellSports.com called Outside the Gridiron. Episode 1 on YouTube right now. We're going to be getting it on Spotify. It'll be a live stream podcast, usually in the middle of the week, talking all things college football, all storylines. So national storylines. Illinois may be involved in it sometimes, but I'm going to be joined by 3 either columnists or journalists of who work there at Mike Farrell Sports, and Mike Farrell will be joining us sometimes, talking about big storylines, sometimes matchups, but really a lot of like the storylines. And then, after the season, it'll be draft stuff. It'll be combine stuff. But during the season, which we're excited about, we'll be getting towards the next 3 or 4 weeks here, a lot more stuff to talk about. But that's something, if you're a college football diehard and you just like to listen to different pods out there, put Outside the Gridiron on your playlist and give us a subscribe on YouTube and stuff. So that's the second episode will be actually live streamed this week. It'll be at Mike Farrell Sports, at M Farrell Sports on X, and then his Facebook. If you follow Mike Farrell on Facebook, it'll stream off there. And then we have a YouTube channel, Outside the Gridiron, that I just made. So yeah, there you go, Kev. Maybe another pod to put on your selection.
Absolutely, Ryan, and it's a testament to your hard work. I've talked about it before. Mike Farrell's a huge name in the business, so I'm excited to listen to it. So.
All right. Yeah. So that'll do it. It's 10:18. It's Sunday night. Time to start getting ready for the work week. We appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube at 200 Columns, Keeping It Orange and Blue, please do that. We appreciate you. Swami out.
ILL.